Today, we're going deep, so let's get started right now. Remember the song Happy Trails? Dale Evans and Roy Rogers, Happy Trails Until We Meet Again. Well, that's kind of where we are, because it's true. Life is nothing but one happy trail. And if you go through it the way we've talked about here, you go through things. You don't go around them, you go through them. You don't talk about them, you live them. No sublimation, no more lying to yourself, because the river called the present is always moving. In fact, change is the only constant in life. Now, my purpose here is to tie all of this together. So that's what we're going to do in these next two videos as we get to the end here. But I'm going to give you the absolute truth about life as I've experienced it and as you will in your very own way. Now, let me begin by acknowledging that you are now in a space of uncertainty. Right? Uncertain about whether what I've said is going to work for you in your game. Uncertain about whether your life can really get any better. Uncertain about whether I'm right or whether a better answer is just around the corner. First off, you should know that I don't know is one of the highest conditions in the game of life, especially when you're totally willing to be there. At that point, you get to see very clearly that you're at the crossroads watching. And you'll discover that it's okay to be there. In fact, it's really exciting. And you're also on the razor blade of choice, always willing to make one, no matter what. So my response to your uncertainty is fine. I understand how you feel because I've been there. And I must admit that it's not very comfortable. Here's what you do about that. Be very conscious about your life. For the next 3 or 4 days, be extremely conscious. Watch what's going on with you. Watch what's going on around you. Go into your inner space twice each day. And if you don't meditate, start with just 5 minutes in the morning and 5 again at night. Take a careful look at what went on with you during the last 12 hours of your day. Be conscious about your purposes. Acknowledge the things you've put onto the videotape of your mind. Be willing for them to be in the past and let them go. Get with the notion that you do have complete control over the present and the future, but none over the past. Importantly, when you go into your space, you got to take a hard, objective, truthful look at your life. You got to be truthful about whether or not it's working for you. And there's only one criteria that you have to use in making that judgment. Are you winning the games that you set up? Are you where you want to be in life? And if you're not, well, now you know the reason. It's because in life, you end up with only one of two things in your games. You either get the results that you wanted or the reasons you didn't get the results. There's nothing else. There's no in between. That's it. You either get the results you wanted or the reasons you didn't get the results. Black and white doesn't get any easier than that. And when you fish for reasons, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. Reasons equal what? If you've watched these videos, rightness. Reason equals rightness. And rightness means wrongness is lurking very close. And that means that your mind is in the game, serving you all these old pictures of the past. And that's what you definitely want to ditch. So forget reasons, forget excuses. Leave that stuff in the past, that place that you have no control over. Now, I want to make this next point super duper clear, so pause what you're doing right now. The questions, how and why, when you get to the hard truth of the matter, are unanswerable. That's because you truly won't know how or why when you're out there on the razor blade of choice. All you need to know is that your game is working better or it isn't. Remember we talked about walking, about kids walking, and you don't teach a kid to walk. A kid just walks. When he expands the space around him enough and decides it's time, he begins to walk. Remember, when you're about to go out the door, you intuitively know how to get there, right? If you're sitting on the sofa, you're looking at the door, you know exactly what you need to do to get up and get out the door, right? When something represents a derail, like something comes on the television that you really wanted to see, and now it's keeping you from walking out the door, right? Over time, you'll see that it's pointless to start fishing for reasons. Reasons just take time to find, and they serve no purpose at all. Understanding how and why this world and your game works is not necessary for you to win. Experiencing is what counts. Experiencing what's going on with you right now. Experience the feeling right now. Acknowledge it. Forget the reasons and get the results. Look carefully and get this. People who are winning in the big game don't really know how they got there. And look at those people you call successful. They don't know how they got there either. Now, to be sure, they can and they do make up all sorts of reasons for the Wall Street Journal and People Magazine and all that crap and how they got there. But all along the way, they just kept choosing and being responsible for those choices. All you've got to do is stop throwing off responsibility to the outside world, to someone else, to your spouse, to your boss, to someone else. Take responsibility. Keep making choices, and then you stand by the choice you made. If it was a mistake, it goes into the past, but you accept it and let it go. Look and know that all those people, all those successful people, they didn't just try. It's impossible to just try, to try. You'll see that a lot of successful people aren't really satisfied with themselves. And there's a reason for that. It's that it's not okay for them to be successful without knowing the specific reasons how they got there. They aren't at acceptance with the simple fact that they became the master of their game, their own guru. It can really be frightening. It can be terrifying as hell. If they don't know how or why they got there, it must be just as easy to knock them down from there, right? So they just keep seeking justification. And that's why they're not happy. The thing to do with that is the same as the advice I'm giving you. Acknowledge what you are, forget the reasons, and just enjoy it. Go with it from here. Go with the flow. Let it alone. It's all back there on the videotape that is the movie of your life. Let that shit go. Move on to new games. Now look, I'm going to turn the tables on you for just a second. Suppose that the entire premise of this series was that it is impossible for you to be happy until and unless you figured it all out. That is, before you could really enjoy your life, you had to figure out how it all happened to you and why it all happened to you. Imagine the exercise of fishing for a plausible reason for everything that went on in your life. Think about it. Every single situation. How freaked out would you have to be if right now you had to start coming up with plausible reasons for every move you've ever made? Don't you see how damn pointless that is? Let the past alone. It was there. It was. That's it. What do you choose now? Because that's all that matters. Take a long, careful look at your act, the act that you're running on other people, the act that you're running on yourself. What are you getting out of it? Because you have to be getting something. What are you getting? You have to understand that before you became conscious about your life, you were three distinct people. In fact, one or more of them may still be waiting to be cleaned up. The first person you are is the act that you assume every day, the mask that you put on. You literally get out of bed and put you on. The next person you are is the one who's probably somewhat fearful. You're probably somewhat fearful of. That's the person you think you'd be if you were natural about things. If you junked your act. You probably see the second character as somewhat mean and unconcerned about others. Kind of nasty. And the final person you are is the real you. And when you get to the real you, you'll find that you're beautiful. The real you is totally okay and nice to be with. The real you is fine. In fact, the real you may not be perfect, but you are certainly making progress. The only trouble is that your actor phase put you square in the middle of that right and wrong game that we've been talking about. Now, that meant you could end up losing all the games you set up, but you can be okay about them as long as you were right. No, now you know that being right doesn't really matter. Winning your games is what matters. So you choose to give up being right totally and completely. That's the secret. Give up being right. Now, when you set out with a clear purpose of being conscious about your life, you should understand that the characters and the situations will be the same. It's the outcome, the results that will be different. That's all. And those people who've been around you for a long time will probably start to notice, holy shit, you're playing a different game. And will ask you what's going on. And you know what? You get to be honest with them by communicating that you're not in the right and wrong game anymore. And they'll get to see what it truly, truly is for you. That you really do come from a different place. And it'll be evident in your eyes and in the way you handle yourself and in the general calmness and anxiety-free bubble you create. Satisfaction as you find yourself winning your games. You should also get conscious about one more thing. That is, when faced with an issue, you have to take the time required to stop, look, and then consciously choose your course of action. We all get pulled into the situation, and before we know it, it's off to the races. The emotions are going crazy. If you must stumble or mumble or cough or invent a body motion or do whatever, do it. That gives you a moment to create that space. That's what it's about. In the end, meditation, everything you do that trains the mind and the focus and the willpower, gives you immense personal power when you start using it. You have a dormant energy inside you that is the most powerful in the universe. It's just hidden away. You got to turn it on. You got to turn it on. Just remember, you be clear about your purpose before you take action. You take as long as you need to survey, to decide, and then you move forward. Just remember that your mind is still there, desperately trying to make you survive. It's going to start throwing up pictures and things and chatter. Forget it. Because if you're not conscious, it's going to start doing all that shit and it's going to make you crazy, right? And what is it doing that for? Because it wants to make you right, because it thinks that's how you survive. Your mind desperately wants life to be the same. The mind can only deal with the conditioned past because that's all it knows. That's why you see those pictures of the past, because it's trying like hell to make them fit into whatever is happening now. Who wants to live that way? Throw that shit away and live in the moment. That is where the electricity crackles and the magic happens. Your mind is accumulated so many pictures of the past, so many different events, that if you're unconscious, it serves up those pictures your entire life. You spend the rest of your life buried in pictures of the past. It literally makes you a machine. All you're doing, you're a VCR from back in the day, because all you're doing is playing those old tapes over and over and over again. Look carefully, and I want you to get this. When your mind is running your life by serving up survival pictures, you're on automatic, total automatic, like a robot, programmed. If you let your mind plug into a set of old pictures, they have total and absolute control of everything, of your entire body, muscles, feelings, emotions, attitudes, everything. When your machinery is running, you have feelings, but you do not feel. Those are pictures of feelings. They're not experiences of the moment of now. What you're feeling is the emotion that was stored away with those pictures. It was meant for you to go through the feeling, not to store it away. And know that everything you store inside you, good and bad, is like being on an episode of Hoarders, because it takes immense willpower and life force energy to hold all that shit inside you. And as you release those things, that life force energy comes back. You're able to then use it in the areas of your life where it matters. You must cut off your mind's automatic response. You must get that mind shut off before it swings into overdrive. Because all the mind is nothing but an imitation of an earlier situation. When it's worried about the future, It's always doing it, thinking negatively. It's always impacted by the past. That's why you never see your true reality. You've got to cut off your mind's automatic response before that computer starts. You must transcend it. You want to go out of your mind in a good way. And by being out of your mind, it means that you'll stop. You will look. You will consciously choose. Then you go back into your mind. You will go above all that worthless chatter. The absolute truth is that life is a game of the real you versus your mind and its pictures of what it thinks you need to survive. That is the battle. That is the struggle. The struggle is real. Be very clear about what I just said. Take just a minute and look carefully at all the buttons you have, all the triggers you have, all the samskaras that you have inside. Those emotional triggers are nothing but pictures that your mind will immediately throw up in any situation which even remotely resembles an earlier one. Hear that. Hear that. These are the loose wires that can be plugged in, and they put you on total unconscious automatic autopilot. You've got that autopilot in your mind. And it goes on, and then you run your act through. If you're not conscious, like I just said, and this should scare the shit out of you, it can run your entire life. Your entire life. I'm not telling you to junk your triggers, junk your buttons. Hell no, those are gold, because those tell you what you need to work on. I just want to make it clear that you're responsible for them. Stop blaming other people. It was a family thing, this, all that negative programming. Stop doing that to yourself. God, think of the things you say to yourself all day long. Think of the things people say. I can't lose weight. I'm not good with money. Cancer runs in the family. It goes on and on. My kids give me a headache. I mean, what you're doing, you are creating that reality for yourself. Man, you've got to take responsibility. How many situations do you have in your inventory where your mind has the response all racked up and ready to roll from the pictures of the past? All of them, right? What are the words I could say to you to make you come out of that chair, fists ready to fight this thing, right? And it's not a dramatic fight to the death. Man, this is your life. It's not supposed to be a struggle. Is there a subject you really don't like to talk about? When you walk up to somebody, a friend, they bring up something, it triggers you. Whenever you feel that feeling that you're getting uncomfortable with something, that is gold. It tells you where the problem is. And then you can start investigating it a little bit, you know? Look and know what your triggers are. You just have to acknowledge them. And guess what happens? 50% of them vanish the moment you just bring them into the light. Why? Because they're no longer serving. They're no longer serving a purpose. They are revealed. The secret, my friends, is revealed. You drag it into the light and it vanishes. Now, you get to make a choice. Do you choose to let your mind do that, to turn into an old VCR and to start running those pictures? Because you have the choice. Get conscious of stopping, looking, and choosing your next course of action. When something happens in front of you, the moment in front of you, that's something you don't like, you accept it, and then go from there. If you want to change it, whatever you want to do, but don't fight against the moment. Don't fight against whatever is happening. You stand back, you observe, you figure out your next course of action, and then you can decide for the change. But butting up against the moment in front of you is never going to end well. You should, if you choose in some kind of situation that's bad and you choose to go into vengeance or anger or hostility or grief or whatever, then you just do it consciously. Don't be in the middle of an argument an hour later before you realize that you've been unconsciously dragged into this thing and you are now vibrating on a very dangerous low frequency, right? Attracting to you the life that you do not want, right? You'll find that when you're conscious, things won't last for an hour or a day or a year, or worse, a lifetime. No, you just go about cleaning up whatever it is that you choose to clean up. You then return to dealing with the present and the future. Because now you know there are no mistakes back there on all that film. There's only events which can be looked at. Stop wishing, hoping, woulda, coulda, shoulda, If only. Oh, no. That's the game you got to get out of. No mistakes back there. None. You can't fix a tape, right? Just that's all you got to remember. Those memories of the past, those are on the videotape. That is your life, but you can't go back there and do anything about them. They're on there, so leave them alone. You can't tamper with them. You can't edit them. You can't change them. You can't do anything with them. You can only look at it. That's all they are there for. When you really experience that, you'll be at total acceptance. Total. You're driving in the car. The guy in front of you is going too slow. You're back in your car. You're yelling, screaming, having an argument with this guy. He's driving along completely unaware. Now, when the car in front of you starts getting slow and you start to get that feeling in your stomach and you start to get that rash on your face or whatever, now you take a moment. Those are the easiest times. It's like Michael Singer says, you're driving in your car and traffic is the greatest greatest way to start doing this. Traffic is good, weather is good. You have plans and it's raining and now you're cursing your life. Those are the easiest things to let go. You have absolutely no control. So you just let them go, So just know if you choose to go into vengeance or anger, then you just make that choice consciously. Okay? Just no mistakes back there. All you can do is look at the film. And what will happen is you'll get to the experience and you'll get to the facts that responsibility is the next natural station for running your game. And the reason for that is just as simple. You'll see clearly that if you have any control in your life, it's only concerning the present and the future. And when you're willing to be responsible for everything that comes into your life, you'll comprehend that you do have total control. Then the problems begin to drop out and your game begins to get progressively better. At first, you won't believe it. You'll think that you're just really lucky. That's what I thought. Over time, though, you'll know it isn't luck. You get to the place of acknowledging that it was no one but you who was doing it to you all this time. All those people and circumstances and places that you blamed, that was all just your bullshit, all your smoke screen. And only you is doing it to you now. You're free. It's freedom. The chains are off. And then only you will ever do it to you. And when you look at your life and know it's working only because you made it work, that no one and nothing ever or will ever be the cause of your life being whatever it is except you. You get the biggest grin on your face that you ever imagined. And you can only go higher from there. Because the next thing you'll see very clearly is that you create your entire reality. You created the game called life. And you know that winning or losing is your only choice. And then you'll see that you really want to be a winner. And then you are. The truth is that if you're running your act, you're doing that so that you and all the others in your game never get to find out who you really are. The problem is that power in life comes from being totally willing to be who you truly are and to be totally responsible for you and the reality that you create. Look and know who and what you are. And my friends, you do know. You just never acknowledge the fact to yourself. And once you're clear about it, you'll be totally willing to make any choice based on that knowledge. And guess what? You'll give up trying. Throw that crap in the wastebasket and get rid of it. You'll also have the belief and the certainty that no matter what you do, you are going to survive. You don't need your mind to throw up those survival pictures anymore because you know at your core that you'll survive. And from here, you can build on as high as you want. As long as you open the space for that to happen around you, just look and know, then go. Don't row in the river of life. So yeah, look and know, then go. Don't row. That's all the advice you need. There's no need to make anyone wrong in the process. You can get what you want out of life without making anyone else wrong. That should be revolutionary for you. Think about it. Because you've definitely lived the other way. You recall what I said about creating a safe space for others, when you give up being right. There's only one reason for you to create that safe space for others. It's so that you understand that they are genuine when they express themselves to you. That's the truth for them. It's where they really are. And so all you're doing is acknowledging their genuineness. And you'll find that when your life begins to work exactly as you want it to, you will be creating that safe space for everyone who comes into your life. People can feel that. People can sense that. You'll come to the point where you'll see everyone is genuine and everyone is perfect. They're not lying to you. And it's okay with you for them to be exactly where they are. Their position has nothing to do with whether you win your games or not. You'll find yourself creating a safe space for mankind, for everyone. You'll expand your space to include all of the people in your life because that's your world. That is the universe. And then you begin to see, when you've expanded your space to include all of mankind, that you are mankind. Because you can only be what you expand your space to include. And if all the other beings in your game are genuine and perfect, before too long, it will dawn on you that you must be no different. And then you'll see that it really is this way. You are genuine and you are perfect. There's not a flaw in the real you. You too have really been where you've been all this time. When you're unconscious, you do whatever it is that you do in order to be all right, to survive, according to your mind. You have to be able to pronounce yourself okay by justifying that, by justifying you. Now you get to see that you're all right, and you will be no matter what you do. It really is okay. You're beautiful, and you'll survive without any reasons. You don't need them. And you'll know that deep knowing that comes from inside. Then you'll get to see that you are the source. You create everything that comes into your space. You know all there is to know. You knew about winning the game of life all along. It just needs to be rekindled inside us. There are things that we know. There are things that we know we don't know. And there are things that we don't know that we don't know. You've already finished the training part of this series. You have everything you need. You know, tomorrow I'm going to give you, or Wednesday, we're going to do a bonus. All right. Just like a free bar of soap, like I'm holding in my hand there. Like, you know, buy 5 bars, get the 6th free. Well, I'm going to give you a little bonus tomorrow. I'm going to take a moment to discuss a little bit about what we talked about. Okay. We're going to talk about a few misconceptions and we're going to tie it all up. That'll be on Wednesday. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this. This information is powerful. This information is truth. It's just pure truth. And if you use this in your life, you'll see that. So, like anything, if you're one of those people that is a knowledge hoarder, that reads all the self-help books and takes all the classes and does all the courses and then never does anything else. You go to see Tony Robbins and you're all psyched up after a big weekend, you know, one of his big events. And I get it. But 2 or 3 weeks later, it all fizzles out. You know, you got to take control of your mind because your mindset is destroying your life. We're programmed, my friends. We're brainwashed. And that's why it's not your fault. But the other side of the coin is you must take responsibility. And now's the time, because once you do, everything starts to fall away and you start to become the you that you always wanted to be, the real you that we just talked about. If you've not joined our Facebook community, that is the brain of our entire family, of our entire organization, because that's where it all happens. It's a like-minded group of people that understand that self-empowerment is the most important thing of all. Self-love, it all has to be given from inside first, and then the outer world starts to change. It's just taking control of our lives. We let go of those pictures of the past, and we set goals, and we make positive choices to getting towards those goals, making them happen. So if you have not joined us, now's the time. Facebook.com/groups/students of self-empowerment. Facebook.com/groups/students of self-empowerment. Now we have a favor to ask. If you enjoy our content, we work hard for you each and every day here. All we ask is that you help us get the word out. So like, share, comment, everything we do. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that now, because we have over 200 videos, lots of content. We work very, very hard for this. So subscribe now. It's Taylor Web Television, youtube.com/Taylor Web television. There's something there for everyone, no matter where you are on your journey. The great thing is we're all in different places. That doesn't make any difference, no matter where you are. Something there for you. And finally, if you need a little bit of help, you need some extra oomph, my mindset coaching program is just about to launch for the summer. We have one spot open if you're interested. I'm not going to give you a hard sell. The transformations are unbelievable. If you wanted some information, just take a look at brentwebb.info/coaching. brentwebb.info/coaching for my personal mindset coaching program. So I'll be back several times this week. I'll be back on Wednesday with the final episode of Brainwashed, but I'll also be back with a live question and answer session at some point as well. So whatever is happening today in your world, like today here in Ohio, it is raining. It is gray outside, but it's still gorgeous. It's still beautiful. Those are the things you can start letting go. Little tiny things like that, which you don't really think matter. Man, they do, because that little bit of life force that you get back, you then have it. You have that focus and that willpower to put somewhere else. I've studied the mind for 30 years. If there's anything I know, it's the human mind. It's how it works and why it does the crazy things that it does and why we act the way we do. Once you understand that, all the self-help books in the world aren't going to do anything until you understand your mind. Once you understand that, you've already got it. The change will happen. You've done it. All right. So go out and enjoy yourself. And remember, don't worry, be happy and feel good. I'll see you Wednesday.